A manager can make or break your creator career. In the world where YouTubers and other creators continue to make bigger and bigger influence on their audiences, it is especially important that you have a manager who helps you pick the right opportunities and prevents you from making bad decisions. I learned many lessons in my 12+ years of business and managerial operations, and this is how you should approach picking the manager who is right for you. First priority is purely on you. You have to decide what is the perfect outcome for you building your creator brand. Are you growing it to build a multi-million-dollar media company around it, or you just want to make YouTube videos for yourself? Do you always want to be the face of your creator brand, or do you want to eventually hire individuals to take over and carry the torch? These are just some of the examples of the kind of questions you have to ask yourself as you decide on the kind of manager you have to hire. I strongly recommend for you to go and think for at least a day about what is that ideal outcome for your creator brand, because it will influence the kind of skills your manager should have. If you want to simply make YouTube videos and fund your creative work, you don't really need a manager. I would argue you need an agent who goes and acquires different sponsorship deals to help you fund your creative work. Or you might decide that you want to build the next Fistable or Chamberlain coffee, and there you need a manager who really knows how to build a brand, how to build a business, and what kind of finance, legal, operations, marketing work goes into creating an entity. These questions are also important because they will influence the kind of compensation your manager will be entitled for. If they actually support you across the entire business, one would argue they own a percentage of it. Or maybe you really want them to focus on the small new effort that you're building, the new company that you're creating under your umbrella. And I would argue that they should only benefit as that business grows. And there can be many variations of how you mix those things together. And sure, even your needs will evolve over time, and you might need a dedicated manager for the entire brand, dedicated manager for each individual sub-brand that you build. Ultimately, when you make that first decision and you hire that first manager, you have to walk confidently into that room knowing exactly what are the expectations and what kind of outcome you and your manager will work towards. Otherwise, at its best, it will be a frustrating experience of miscommunication between you and your manager, and at worst, it will be a scenario like the one Destroying faced.
Back in the days, I just had management that wasn't the best experienced, and they brought in people that weren't really fitting to my team. Like I had an accountant that was getting paid like $8 grand a month. And wow. It wasn't really an accountant, didn't even have a degree in accounting, none of that. They were just paying payroll and things like that. We're gonna sign a lease on a gym. Nobody had any idea about the plumbing, the build out, the costs, like none of that. And we're about to sign a 5-year lease. And obviously it was all gonna come out of my pocket.
Once you zeroed in on that personal goal for your creator brand, it is time to sit down and have a conversation with your manager about their roles and responsibilities. It is crucial for you to communicate to them not only that North Star vision, but also what individual puzzle pieces that manager is owning that then build into that ultimate goal. If you focused on just growing the sponsorship, you should have the conversation about how many sponsorships, what the amount of total dollars acquired through those sponsorships, and the kind of brands you want to attract. And your manager is now responsible for carrying the torch on those performance metrics. If you decide to build a brand, the conversation there is, does your manager become just a supervisor? Do they supervise a specific area like hiring, vendor management, or do they become a de facto COO or CEO of your company? A well-articulated North Star vision, that ultimate goal, and the well-articulated points that the manager takes care of and how they interconnect will jumpstart your relationship and will create the kind of team that rows in the same direction. Don't just agree to figure it out at some point in the future. This is like a marriage. You have to get on the same page about your future goals and who is responsible for what before you sign that paperwork and say, I do. Finally, as you're about to make a decision, consider the profile and personality match. The worst mistake that I've seen both in leadership positions at the regular companies and when the creators work with the managers is that they hire individuals who are carbon copy of themselves. You need someone who complements and does not duplicate your set of skills. This does not mean that they're completely different. It just means that they have a few interesting perspectives to bring to the table. They have to be the ones to sometimes cool you off and remind you that some of those opportunities that you're facing does not align with your goals. There will be a lot of opportunities coming your way as you grow. And if your manager just says yes to everything and cashes that 10 to 15% fee, or you tell them as a directive to say yes to every opportunity, frankly, you might as well just say auto-response yes to every sponsorship deal, fire your manager, and save yourself those 10-15%. You can test for this during the interview process. Ask your manager to prepare a business case on your behalf, then play the role of a client and ask your manager to present to you the business case, whether it is acquiring additional sponsorship, building a business, or somewhere in between. Listen to that presentation. Ask them very pointed questions. Watch and observe how they navigate those questions. I will link down in the description below a few other suggestions and why I think those questions are important. They're free, feel free to use them. The whole idea is that you really want to understand how this manager represents your brand. The creator economy will only continue to grow. The role of the manager will become more and more important, and this is why it's so crucial for you to have the right person for the right moment in time and the right kind of opportunities that are ahead. I know it's quite a bit of work, but you're hiring someone who will potentially define how your brand develops for the next 3, 5, 10 years ahead. So definitely spend your time, definitely think through all these details. And if you'd like, just reach out. We can brainstorm together for 30, 60 minutes about the questions, the answers to them, how you should position them. Or I'm even happy to review some of those candidates and give you the advice based on who is the right candidate for you. And if you're curious to see a couple of great examples of the manager-creator relationship, check out this video that I made about Mei-Lin Tran. She took a few creators, moved them to Japan, and created something special. I'll see you next Saturday. Peace!